What it do, y'all? It is your girl Sip, and we back again with our second episode. I am so happy to introduce you to our next guest, Miss DeBlair here. Tell the people who you are and where you from.
Hey everybody, my name is DeBlair Tate and I am from Mississippi.
Period. B601, yes. So basically, I wanted to create this podcast to be a safe haven for individuals from the deep, dirty South. I wanted to dive into it because I already told the people what I classify dirty South is. And I just said Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. I kind of slid in Atlanta since we in Atlanta, but give or take, I said Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana because I feel like those are the bottom of the map, smaller states that's still trying to thrive. So, what's your input on it? Who you think are the deep dirty South states?
I definitely think Atlanta is the deep dirty South too.
Okay.
Well, the dirty South, not the deep dirty South. It's more so like you said, the Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana area. Like that's probably the real dirty South.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think like dirty and deep is like two different ways to classify it? Like how would you classify Mississippi?
Deep South.
Deep South?
When I think of dirty, I think of like when Ludacris and them rap. They
Yeah,
talk
like with
about the
Big
dirty
Boy.
South.
Yeah.
So it's just a little saying, just be like the dirty South, like we get down and dirty type thing. But when we think of like real South as it relates to on the map, we're the deep South.
Yes, Mississippi.
Yes.
To be exact, y'all heard of Mississippi. So since we both from Mississippi, period, I'm from 601. What's your area code?
It's 6012, but 662.
662.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I wanted to talk about, how was it growing up in Mississippi? Because for me, I grew up pretty much, like I said, Jackson, Mississippi. So that's basically the city of Mississippi. I grew up around a lot of my friends. You got pros and cons to it. The pros was we all grew up together, experienced a lot of stuff together. But the cons, I lost a lot of friends at a young age. So to be able to go through elementary together, middle school and high school, and then having to leave, it was a different perspective for me. So I want to know, let's start off with just your childhood growing up in Mississippi.
So I don't even know where to begin because, well, of course I wrote a whole book about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read my book or not, but the South was the South. My childhood, if you had to ask me and I was still there, the answer would be different versus like me no longer being there, if that makes any sense. But it was different in regards to, I felt like I had everything. Our little community was small, so everybody knew each other. My guards were down. I didn't really have to worry about locking my door because family was family. Like you knew pretty much you could knock on somebody's door to ask for sugar. It wouldn't be no problem. And it was a gift and a curse because being that you were close-knit family means that like you loved hard and you fought hard too. So everybody was just kind of like just trying to make it. I was involved in a lot of activities that I probably shouldn't have been involved in. And it was only because it was really nothing to do. We kind of made our own activities, and sometimes it equated to us being hard-headed little kids, disobeying our parents, getting involved in gang activity and just doing ratchet stuff.
Ratchet stuff, that's what it is.
Things that we knew better. Fortunate for me, I was very, very smart in school, so I did not let my outside activities influence what I did.
Yeah.
But I also played sports.
Okay.
I was a different person in the schoolhouse than I was outside because of the people that I was one of the people I hung around. So I can't say it was because of the people I hung around because I was probably the ringleader, honestly. But I hung with my cousins, my boy cousins, and we just, we had our little gangs, our little sides, and even though we were small, we were still divided. We had sides, you know what I mean? Everybody repped their own little side and their set, and contingent upon if you got into it with one of my cousins or my friends, you get into it with all of us. So it was like internal wars, and that was the toughest thing because everybody knew everybody. So any loss or any type of issue or whatever, even though it was against the so-called enemy at the time, we still all knew each other.
Yeah.
So it hit a little harder, and it was a different type of hurt when something happened to somebody that you knew, but you just was at odds with, if that makes sense.
So you talked about different sets and, being involved with stuff that you felt like you probably should have been involved in. I want to talk a little bit about that because, there was a time, and I feel like it still is a time, Mississippi was like the second top for homicide. So during that time, you was with your cousins, you was experiencing different things back at home. Was there a time where you lost like a very close friend, or like somebody passed away with everything that was going on with the sets and just so much violence that was going on back at home?
All the time.
Yeah.
It was all the time. It was all too often. You lost people from senseless violence. We look at it now and it's like it doesn't even make sense, right? And cousins, family members, like all the time when I was at that age. So I was the only child growing up. I'm my mom's only child, so I had a lot of cousins and close friends and things like that. And people that I considered to be family. So there was a lot of gun violence, police brutality, a lot of racism, of course, and we lost a lot of people through probably like just the crime, us just at war with each other. So it was a lot of fatalities as a result of that.
Yeah. So I wanted to speak a little, deeper into the area that a lot of people that's not from Mississippi, now put Mississippi in. Basically saying how we're a racist state still, how, lynching over there, like, you in Mississippi, just a lot of negative things from Mississippi that it doesn't do good for the good things that Mississippi could be, So you spoke about racism. What kind of racism, during your time did you kind of experience?
What's so funny is I did not realize it was racism until I left because it was my normal. And I don't know what you experienced because Jackson was a little faster town than my city.
Yeah.
So my city was very small. So things like the same thing I talked about in my book, like the separate proms. So we looked at it as, they're just trying to make sure everybody is represented. But it was really like that's some can I curse?
Oh, please.
That's some racist that's some racist shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, me being the black homecoming queen and then us having a white homecoming queen. And up until a couple of years ago, we were still doing separate class reunions, right? So it was just a lot. I remember this lady, she lived next door to me. I called her my grandmother, and she worked for a white lady. And when she would pick her up from work, because she didn't drive, she would pick her up and she would get in the back seat of the car, and she would take her to her home. And she was telling me about her work and stuff, and she wasn't able to even enter into the front door of the home, and this wasn't even a long time ago. This was still in when I was just in like high school or whatever. But things like that, I witnessed rallies, so they still had KKK rallies. Some of the things in regards to Mississippi is very true. It is a racist state, and slavery was just pretty much abolished not too long ago. I can't remember, maybe like 10 years ago, simply because of a misprint. It wasn't because they were already free, but it was just like actually on paper, it wasn't official. So that just got changed. So I'll look up the exact year.
We didn't learn all of this too much in history. This is stuff that they had in history class. They didn't want you to know too much stuff about this. Like when I was in high school, we didn't know too much about it. We found out later on,
Yeah.
So to hear so much like now when I moved to Atlanta and how they just still down Mississippi about being so racist, it's just like, well, we can be better than that, you know what I'm saying? But it's still there.
It's a tough pill to swallow, and I feel you in regards to like trying to represent and take up for your state. But it's not us that created that environment, right? So it is a racist state. It still is. Like, I know my city, I can say it is. America's racist because we're still seeing issues. But when you're getting down to those smaller states, I feel like for us, it was really nothing we could do about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you really don't have jobs that pay you enough to even be able to sustain, because when you have wealth, you're more respected. But when you're just trying to make ends meet and you're working for the white man or whatever the case may be, you're almost like at their beck and call. And you want to feed your family, so it's like, do I sacrifice and not feed my family to prove a point, or do I just kind of like do what I need to do and just try to stay out of the way, even though I know some of the things are not right, you know? When you try to stand up for yourself, just like the situation that happened, and it's a story that you can Google it with the I won't call a name, but a black man. He was a distant relative of mine that was accused of murdering white people, 4 white people, and he's out now, and he was tried like 10 times for the same crime. And in Mississippi, it's like, how in the world could that even be possible? In another state, it wouldn't be. Exactly. But because of the things that the whites were able to do, it slid through the cracks, and then it was able to happen. How are you on death row and now all of a sudden you're free? Yeah. If that was the case, right? So it was a lot. They did an actual, they came down there and actually did a documentary on that people can actually look up. Okay. And the documentary talked to a lot of people, and it exposed a lot of things in Mississippi in regards to how people were basically selling themselves out for, because the white man would say, hey, I'll give you this if you do this in exchange for some information to make it seem as if somebody else did the crime, right? Just kind of brought like bribery. And it's unfortunate, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it, because when you talk about it down there, things start happening still. Yeah. Right? Things start happening. And I just decided, because I used to be hush-hush about it. Yeah. I did, simply because my family still lives there. I still have friends down there. I still have family down there. And I did not want to jeopardize them. I'm away. I'm not there. But I didn't want the things that I said to impact, what's going on with them. And I was like, I got to stop being quiet about it, right? Yeah. Because it's not right. It's not right. And I don't want to feel like I'm afraid or I'm running or anything like that, because I'm not doing anything wrong, because I'm speaking out about things that's not right and things that should be equal. Mm-hmm. It's still work to be done in that area.
Yeah, I feel that. So we gonna switch the narrative a little bit, the room, because we spoke about the bad sides, pretty much in Mississippi, but Mississippi is still home, and I know you cherish it just how much as I do. So I want to talk about the developments. Every time I go home, I do want to be honest. Off Woodruff was saying, they're building more stuff, and I'm happy for that. I'm grateful for that. We have TV shows though, aka P Valley. Please tell me you watch P Valley.
I watched season 1.
Okay, well I'm waiting on the next episode, but I just wanted to get into how the fact that they have a director from Memphis, not Mississippi, but Memphis, putting on this narrative of how Mississippi people talk, of how we look, just the whole 9 yards. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about people portraying what they think Mississippi is?
It was definitely dramatized.
Yeah,
it was to the extreme. Like, we definitely, now I can't say we don't have country people. Like, people will say, oh, well, you country is Southern. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we do have a little swing, just like New Orleans have their own swing. But the conversation and the way they try to portray us as being unintelligent, we have, oh my God, many, many intelligent people down there. So their conversation was like broken English or whatever. And it did not portray us in a light that was positive. Now, there's 1 or 2 offs that could have a slang like that, but I've lived there my whole life, and I definitely, it's not that deep. The way they were talking, it was definitely, like a little dramatic.
Yeah, I done had so many people down here come to me, ask me, is Chucalissa a real city? Please. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, Chucalissa? That's dramatized.
We have some crazy names for cities down there. And believe it or not, there are some little towns that I have never heard of. But, I mean, of course, that's made up. But we do have some weird names for little towns down there.
Yeah.
So, but some people, I mean, they look at us as like country southern because we're Mississippi. So
Mhm.
that right there kind of substantiates what they already think.
Yeah.
Instead of them actually going to visit, they'll go off of what they see on TV or whatever, or what they've heard, because everything that you see and hear, you don't hear the amazing things that happen down there, the history, the culture. You always hear about the racism, or like the country, or the unintelligent people, or whatever the case may be. So it's unfortunate. So it's good that you're doing this to kind of shine a light, to bring a better, light to
Yeah.
Mississippi.
Yeah. What you think home is known for? Like, what you think? If you could just think of one good thing.
Good Southern cooking, I would
Mhm.
say. I would say definitely Southern cooking. Very, very like down to earth people,
Yes.
right?
Southern
So,
hospitality.
like the hospitality, you get you a Mississippi girl or a down south girl, you got you a keeper for life,
For
because
life.
we definitely know how to love, because a lot of us grew up around our grandmothers, and
Mhm.
just that real genuine love that we're able to get. So those are some of the main things that come to mind when I think about the South.
Yeah. Like, I know for a fact I grew up, I'm a grandmama's baby. So my grandmama played a heavy role in my life. She took care of me. So I feel like a lot of my characteristics definitely came for being around that love, along with my mom. So I wanted to talk about like the transition. Like, when did you leave Mississippi? Why did you feel like it was time to when did you feel like it was time to go? Why you feel like it was time to leave? What about that transition, you leaving?
I always felt like that. Well, I love my city, but I always knew that I couldn't stay there, right?
Mhm.
Because I wanted more, but I didn't know what it looked like, because growing up, I didn't go out much. Like, I'll come to Atlanta here and there, but I'm high school. There was not that much traveling, and I didn't know I didn't have a lot, because my mom took very care of me. And to me, I had everything, right?
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted more. That's why I joined the military. So I wanted to go right out of high school and go into the military, because I was like, I got to figure out how I'm going to see this world, because I know there's something else. Did not know what it is, did not know how I was going to get there. But grandmother didn't want that for me. So she wanted me to go to college with my cousins, because they were all there. You
Okay.
need to
Where
go
you
there.
go?
I went to Mississippi State.
Okay.
So she wanted me there. Okay, cool. I did that. Went and talked to a recruiter while I was there, and signed up and joined the military, like behind my family's back.
Mm.
And on the second semester, I ended up leaving and going. And that's how I got out of Mississippi, because granted, a lot of people that graduate from my town, there's a lot of surrounding schools. Jackson State, Mississippi State, Ole
Yeah.
Miss. We tend to go there. Even the junior colleges, Hines, Holmes, different schools like that, and we might come back home.
Hmm.
We might, go to college, come back home, because we may have our families that we need to go take care of, or we have kids and now we want to go where we have that support system.
Yeah.
So I needed to go, because I wanted to just explore more. I was always just like wondering what's going on. I see things on TV, and I want to go there. I want to visit there. So I lived through what I saw on TV, and just wanted to, like, I wonder if I could do that,
Yeah.
right? Would a person from Mississippi, would I be able to see the things that's on TV, or even is it even real?
Hmm.
So you had to develop that mindset, because when I was there, I didn't think that I would be able to even be anywhere else,
Why you think it
or
was that? Why you feel like that? Because
because
I
I
feel the
didn't
same way.
because I didn't know any better.
Hmm.
And that was a simple reason. It was just because I didn't see it a lot, right? I only knew what was around me, and I knew it was something else out there, but I didn't know how to get there, because I didn't have anybody to pave the way to say, okay, this is what you can do. I had, examples of family members going to college. I had a couple of family members to go to the military, but they came back to Mississippi.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, can I do this? And can I do this by myself? You know. Now, I had a lot of support in regards to telling me, hey, you can make it, you can be anything you want to be. My mom was amazing at supporting anything that I did. But when it came to this world, you know, um, it was almost like I just had to do what I had to do and figure
Yeah.
it out. So the military really was my safe haven. And then once I got out there, and it was a wrap.
Yeah. I love that. So you're in Atlanta now?
Yes.
Okay, and so I wanted to talk about just some certain foods, right? So being from down south, I'm country, but I ain't that country. Me personally, you not catching me eating no chitlins.
Girl, I grew up eating that.
Oh, okay. So we gotta have a conversation
Yeah.
of what's the top three things that you not eating, but people feel like that you should eat because you from Mississippi. So I'll go first. Me, I'm not eating chitlins. I'm not eating pig feet, and I'm not eating what else? I'm just not eating anything else that sound like you don't need to be eating like I'm not a fan of oysters. Like I do seafood shrimp, but
That's
oysters.
not real Mississippi though. That's
You're
more New
right,
Orleans.
yeah. But anything like pig feet,
Mhm.
chitlins, I'm not eating. What about you?
Okay, so all of the foods that I used to eat growing up, I don't eat it anymore.
And what is that?
So I was a fan of chitlins and with ketchup.
Ketchup.
One thing that's very prominent that I didn't eat then, I don't eat now is catfish.
Okay.
So I mean, I eat other fish, but catfish is a Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's funny because I'm not big on fish at all. So I guess fish would be my third one. I'm not big on fish.
Yeah, I am, but not catfish. The other one would be like I'm not big on hog mogs.
That's Mississippi for real. Just say y'all, I'm from the city, Mississippi, but hog
Mogs.
no.
Yes, I'm not big on hog mogs. I didn't eat it, but that's a Mississippi food.
Yeah.
You know, so if you would think of Mississippi, you would think of catfish, you would think of hog mogs, and probably oxtails
And chitlins.
and chitlins.
But I'm not eating chitlins. So I do got some snacks on the table, just some little stuff that reminded me of back home. I couldn't get everything, but just a couple of stuff. So do you see anything on that table that reminds you of back home or something that you ate when you was younger?
Yes, I definitely ate the the cracklings. But I ate the hot ones. I was trying to see if those were hot. Oh, these are the hot
The
ones.
spice ones? Mm-hmm.
Yep, so definitely the cracklings, definitely the sunflower seeds, definitely the Twinkies, Jolly Ranchers for sure. Like, yeah, all of that.
All that, the Twinkies?
Yes, all of that.
Okay, so we're going to do something different. We're going to taste just one of them pork lines, and we're going to see if they taste the same.
I don't eat pork.
You don't want to taste it? Okay, would there be anything else you want to taste on there? The Twinkie, at least the Twinkie.
Really?
A tiny piece. A tiny
Okay,
piece.
okay.
Come on. Okay, we're going to see if it tastes the same. So I'm going to just let you break off because I wasn't a big fan of Twinkies. Me, it was more so oatmeal cream pies.
Okay.
But not Twinkies. So I'll let you just take a little piece off and then you can just give it a
cream.
Is it like too sugary?
Oh my God, yes. I want to spit it out. You all have to swallow this.
You could just put it.
She set me up.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm scared. You know what? I'm gonna just try a piece because I guess tried a piece. So I'm gonna
hold
try
it in my hand. I didn't even know they still made Twinkies.
We need a napkin.
Yeah. That was a setup. That was a straight setup. I did it though. I was a good sport.
Let me see what it's cause I don't know, y'all. I wasn't a fan of Twinkies.
It's good to you?
I really wasn't a fan, but it's not bad. It's sweet.
Yeah.
Too much filling. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
The filling. Okay, so moving forward,
I ate bebops growing up. Like, the bebops, from the candy lady from the corner store.
Oh, yes,
with
the
pickles,
candy lady.
with the Kool-Aid.
Okay, so please tell me you've had a Kool-Aid pickle.
Oh, yeah.
I've come across a lot of people down here that don't even want to try it, don't know what it is, make a crazy face when I tell them that every time I go back home, I got to go to the Snow Bigs, give me a Kool-Aid pickle, hot chips with cheese,
yes.
the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
But they don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about that. So coming to Atlanta, like I said, me going to college, friendships, trying to get a job in this expensive city, trying to live in this expensive city. It was a lot for me. I remember every day, freshman year, I'm calling my mama. Like, this is a lot. I just got into it with my roommate. Like, I threatened to tase her. Like, it was a lot going on. But I had to do it because, like, if I don't do it, who else will?
Hmm.
Did you feel that way?
Well, I guess once I got here, it was almost like I needed to do what I had to do, right? I didn't call home because once I left, I was pretty, I have a hustle mentality.
Mm.
So I worked multiple jobs. Like I did a lot. I hustled because growing up, that's what I did. I was a little
Yes.
hustler.
Working 2 jobs at 16, y'all. I felt that.
But not the type of hustler you thinking.
Oh, well.
I was a different type of hustler that could get you in trouble.
Oh.
You know. But, when I left, I had the military that had my back.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that income, and then when I went to college, I always worked. So I worked in college. I did the military thing and had my little side hustle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I was always good. What I consider good.
Yeah.
Just to make myself, I wasn't rich by any means, but I was able to pay my bills and do what I need to do without having to call home.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I went a different way. So even in college, I got military funds. But for the ones that didn't, if I didn't have that, I definitely would have struggled.
Yeah.
I will say that. We got the Pell Grant,
Mm-hmm.
but also we got those credit cards if you go get a t-shirt and sign up,
Yeah.
I maxed out several credit cards. So that right there was the way I made it.
Okay.
My credit was horrible because I'm going to dealers. Those are our stores, Belk and Dillard's back
Yeah.
in the days.
Makes
Going
sense.
to maxing out the credit cards and thinking I'm balling out of control, but
Mm-hmm.
really didn't know I was setting myself up for failure for this future life. So I had to like fix all of that stuff later.
Yes. So before we wrap up, I want you to just tell the people, specifically, let's talk to our Mississippians. Anybody that's watching this podcast feel like they don't know which direction to take. They want to leave, but they know where they grew up around. They know the people around them. They don't know which direction to take. Someone like you that moved, built, worked hard, experienced a lot of things, worked for everything you've had. What advice would you give a fellow Mississippian?
So first, you just got to believe it. You have to believe that you can do it. You got to get out of that mindset that you feel like there's something that's holding you back, because we all have barriers and it's never going to be the perfect situation, right? So you have to just create a situation and find a support system and just make it happen.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not happy with being down there, but they have things like children and afraid, like financial situations that's preventing them from moving out. And it's when you're used to being comfortable and having a support system, that is a big leap. But you either stay there and soak in wanting to do it, or you figure out a way to do it. And that's what I had to do. I was like, I can no longer make excuses, or I just got to bet on myself, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I just say go for it, develop that right mindset, and don't be afraid to just want better. I'm not saying that your situation is not good, but even me today, I'm always looking for a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have things that you feel like you want to be better, like there's opportunities out there. You just have to know the right people. You have to work hard, and where the focus goes, the energy flows. So you just got to keep pushing.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please tell the people where they can follow you, about your book. Just where they can keep tabs on you. Let the people know.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at I am DeBlair, and we're talking about Mississippi. My whole book, Resilient AF: How to Fight for What You Deserve. It's about Mississippi. It's about my life, leaving Mississippi, growing up, becoming who I am today, and still fighting to be better each and every day. So my book can be found on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, on Target, online, or whatever. And I also just did a new book, Level Up. So it's basically a journal that talks about mindset, how you say, what do people need to do? It's everything that I did to get out of that closed mindset, Because when I was in Mississippi, I had a closed mindset because I was comfortable with where I was. But
Yes.
in order to just expand and want to do more, I developed a blueprint that showed people how to do it because I do reach back and try to, engage and help people become better. Especially my city. I target my city a lot because I love my city. So
Same.
those are my two books, and they can be found in my Instagram. So
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. We dropped some gems. We gave y'all a taste and also just a little look into our personal lives as Mississippians. Tune in to the next episode. I'm going to be here. You guys do not leave. We're going to have some more snacks here. We're going to do some more games. We're going to do the whole 9 yards. Once again, thank you for watching Love My Dirty South podcast, and see you later.